I'm Bob Popp of Gunpoint Recording Studios in Chicago. You can find us at myspace.com/Gunpoint Recording Studios. I'm here with my engineer, Steven Durenberger, Gretchen and Jamie, and we're going to talk about my Soundcraft 600 board. I purchased my mixing board online and decided that I would send it to the factory that was Soundcraft's warranty in Nashville. These guys specialize in a lot of the older Soundcrafts, and they put a lot of the modern Soundcraft parts in there to upgrade the quality and consistency, because as these parts get older, they start to wear down. What I'm talking about is capacitors, resistors, faders, potentiometers, switches. They go bad after a while. What we decided to do was to make a certain amount of these channels sounding different than the other ones, because I do a lot of different things with the board. In other words, I may be doing a commercial one day and a rock band the next day. For my commercial stuff, I use this end of the board, which is a little more pristine and can handle very sensitive microphones. On this end of the board, where I do most of my drums, I usually have microphones like dynamic microphones, overhead microphones, where I can really get it crunchy and crank it up and things like that. Sarge, Skip, Mike, and Brendan down at Creation Audio in Nashville, they went through this with me. We talked about what processors I was using for my digital to audio conversion to my computer, which I told them I was using a Motu. They went through the specs of the Motu, matched up my outputs of my board to the Motu by changing a series of chips and resistors. I'll go through that in a second. I'll show you exactly what they've done. What we wanted to get was a board that served different purposes. As I said before, I do bands, I do commercials, sometimes I do plays and theater stuff. So I needed a lot of inputs. I needed them to sound close, but I needed the gain stages to be different. Sensitive microphones down here, rock and roll microphones down here. So a lot of the old boards were modular. In other words, you could just take a component right out and work on it. This here is the master section, which is this part of the board here. Just like a Harley Davidson and a Jaguar, it's always good to have spares. What the guys did is they took some of these chips out, they put sockets in there, and then we went through and selected what type of chip and what type of capacitor and resistor would be most appropriate for my style of music and my conversion. Because when this board was made, there wasn't too much digital going on in 1989. There was some, but it was limited to Steely Dan and Madonna records. As time goes on, fidelity gets higher. I prefer to record at 96 kilohertz, which means that there's going to be more bandwidth. So if I were to take the old channel and turn it up, I'd get a lot of hiss. When we changed these resistors and capacitors, the hiss went down because the electricity levels went up. So when I turn the fader up to +10, which probably isn't recommended, but it's the only way I can hear things, I don't get as much noise as I did before. In doing that, we adjusted the levels of the board to the processor, to the computer. I even told them what kind of speakers I had, my room dimensions and stuff like that. And what we get is a board that's capable of doing a lot more than just a regular board. It's like having 24 individual preamps instead of having a rack full of preamps. I was able to customize each channel or each section of my channels to give me the sound that I require to make the music that I like to hear and the music that my clients like. This is pretty much 4 microphones going through the board, kick drum, and 3 overheads. And my philosophy is if you can't get it with that minimal of mics, you might as well just start over.